Well, good morning. My name is Mark Cummins. I'm the president and CEO of the Minnesota Credit Union Network. We're pleased to have you here to have an opportunity to talk a little bit about credit unions and what we've been experiencing over the last couple of years. We've had record growth in credit unions in the state of Minnesota. We've increased about 63,000 members in 2013. There's a 3% growth rate, which is a record growth rate for us. And we've also, that's on top of the 47,000 net increase that we had from 2012. So these are significant numbers for Minnesota. And what we're seeing is the message of credit union as not-for-profit financial cooperatives really resonating with people and looking for that as institutions of choice with values that represent the communities that we serve. And that's what we do. We live in our communities, we work in our communities, our decisions that are made in our local communities. And a big part of our mission is to strengthen the communities in which we serve. One of the ways that we accomplish that is we do a tremendous amount of financial education for the local communities in the schools, but in the public realm as well. So to talk about that, and to begin with that, we're going to have some of our local credit unions talk about the work that they do. And first up will be Mary Hansen with the Mayo Credit Union here in Rochester.
Hey, thanks, Mark. Well, good morning. I'm Mary Hansen, and I'm the CEO of the Mayo Employees Federal Credit Union. Our credit union has been around for 81 years, and we have very deep roots in the Rochester community. We serve over 51,000 members at Mayo locations nationwide, and we hold over $680 million in assets. One of the original reasons that our credit union was created was to help Mayo employees pool their money and loan it to other employees to help them achieve their financial goals that they had for their families and themselves. And today I want to talk about one of our recent initiatives that demonstrates this commitment to our members. As 2013 approached, we set out to identify how could we make a significant difference in our members' financial lives. Keeping our mission of caring for our members in mind, we created a lofty goal of saving them $18 million on their loan payments during the year. We set out to do this in a number of different ways. Members were invited to educational seminars and one-on-one credit score clinics where a loan officer sat down with them and reviewed their credit bureau report. Together they looked for opportunities to refinance or consolidate debt held at other financial providers that could be refinanced with us at a more favorable rate to help them save money over the life of their loan. Other members responded to web ads and postcards, inviting them to speak with a loan officer to learn more about reducing their debt and working towards a path of financial wellness. Over the year, we not only reached our goal, we exceeded it by almost $1 million, saving our members $18,970,687. In some cases, we were able to save our members a modest amount of $100 a month or less, while some experienced savings of $1,000 or more each month. But regardless of the amount, the savings were very real to each member, and they positively impacted their finances. We then worked with them to redirect those savings into a purpose that fit their life situation. So in some cases, that was college savings for their kids or their grandchildren, or a Roth IRA for their own retirement savings. In 2014, we've continued our focus on financial wellness with a focus on member education. In the last 3 weeks, for example, we have had 7 seminars, including a 3-part seminar series titled Financial Fitness for Women, which focused on budgeting to create savings, investment strategies specific to women, and a guide to home ownership. We continue to look for opportunities to help our members and their families benefit from this type of assistance. Our members can be confident that their credit union is always looking out for their best interests. Our tagline and branding, "You care for them, we care for you," makes that promise clear to our member owners. Thank you. And now I'd like to introduce Aaron DeJong, who's the president and CEO at our Red Wing Credit Union.
Thank you, Mary, and congratulations to you and your team on achieving your tremendous goal. That's a great message to send. Good morning, I am Aaron DeJong. I am the president and CEO of Red Wing Credit Union. For over 60 years, Red Wing Credit Union has served the financial needs of individuals. Originally formed to serve employees of the Red Wing Credit Union, the Red Wing Shoe Company, we now serve over 7,000 members in and around the community of Red Wing. As Mark previously mentioned, the importance of youth financial literacy and education cannot be overstated. The fact is, many youth lack a fundamental knowledge of how to obtain and properly manage personal financial accounts. Over the last couple of years, we have partnered with Red Wing Youth Outreach to provide financial education sessions for teens. Red Wing Youth Outreach is a nonprofit organization that offers programs to assist at-risk adolescents in a successful transition to higher education or the workforce. Our education sessions focus on providing information and resources on how to obtain and manage financial accounts. Some of the topics we discuss include establishing a habit of regular savings, avoiding high-cost financial products such as payday loans or high-interest credit cards, and the importance of managing credit properly. We also discuss the difference between credit unions and banks, encourage them to explore their options. We show them what to look for in low-cost financial services and what traps to avoid. We also discuss the difference between credit unions. We're proud to partner with organizations such as Red Wing Youth Outreach and its mission. Community partners such as this is reflective of the proactive nature of credit unions. And thank you for your time. I will now turn it over to my colleague Kim Westphal from Hometown Credit Union in Owatonna.
All right, thank you, Aaron. As Aaron mentioned, I'm Kim Westphal, the CEO of Hometown Credit Union. Hometown Credit Union is a community-based credit union. We serve members in Steele, Rice, Dodge, and Waseca counties, and we're serving over 16,000 members. We're connected with the communities we serve in many ways, but one initiative that's had great success for us is our student internship program and our financial education efforts with the youth in our communities. So I'm going to share some information on that today. Since 1993, we've hired students from area schools as interns. Students are interviewed for positions, hired, and trained as credit union employees. Our student interns process transactions and assist our members with questions, and they are held to the same standards that our full-time staff are. To date, we've employed over 75 students at the credit union from area high schools. This provides them with valuable financial education, job application skills, and working skills that will benefit them regardless of the career choice that they make in the future. Currently, we have over 13 student interns working at Hometown Credit Union. In 1998, we began providing formal presentations to the high school students at the Owatonna High School. We focused on topics of savings, checking, credit, investments, identity theft, and fraud. We have since expanded our presentations to include the Faribault High School and the Riverland Technical College in Owatonna. In 2011, we elevated our commitment to the youth by opening a student-run branch at the Owatonna High School. The purpose of the branch is to promote savings and financial literacy among the students and to provide more students with an opportunity to work at a financial institution. The office is open daily over the lunch hours and when other opportunities exist, such as orientation and conferences. It's staffed by our student interns, and we have one full-time supervisor that works at the credit union. Having an office on site benefits the students, the staff, the school, and the community in many ways. For the students, it builds awareness of financial responsibility, it increases personal financial management skills, it introduces the fundamentals of financial products and services, it encourages personal savings, it teaches the importance of saving money for long and short-term goals, it provides for customized presentations on key topics related to financial management, it provides students with employment, teaches them the job application and employment skills that will prepare them for future job opportunities, and it gives students hands-on experience. It also allows students to get peer-to-peer advice from other student employees that work at the credit union. For the high school staff and for the school, it enhances the curriculum offered at no additional expense through classroom presentations. It provides a resource for other related curriculum, such as marketing projects. It provides expertise on financial products and services, and it offers the convenience of having an on-site financial institution that the staff can actually use to do their banking. For the community, it increases the awareness of the importance and benefits of school and business partnerships, and it helps transition the youth into financial literate adults as community members. For the credit union, it provides us with an opportunity to give back to the communities that we serve through this investment. Just to share a little more on our classroom presentations, for the 2013-14 school year, we touched over 180 students who benefited from our classroom presentations through the business classes. We've since introduced a list of topics to all of the teachers and have increased the demand for our classroom involvement. For this school year, we've already completed 3 presentations in September, and 1 presentation was to a special education class on the basic financial skills. Some of the topics we present on are opening a bank account, maintaining a budget, understanding and building good credit, keeping credit secure, investments, teenage job hunt, applying for your first loan, understanding student loans, and careers in finance. Last year, our student employees began facilitating the presentations, which has been very successful as the students enjoy and are comfortable learning from their peers. This is a great experience for the students that are doing the presenting as well. We also post financial trivia questions at our high school branch as an educational tool to encourage students to stop by the office. Based on the success of our high school presentations, we're now offering financial education sessions to our general membership as we've identified a need for increased financial education at all age levels. Topics that we cover for these sessions include budgeting to win, credit and fraud, first-time homebuyers, fraud and identity theft, and maximizing your Social Security benefits. Just one other thing I'd like to touch on regarding our youth education efforts is since 2008, we've had students serving on our board of directors as an associate board member. This provides students with an opportunity to learn more about financial institutions and what it's like to serve on a board. So as you can see, Hometown's been very committed to supporting the youth in our communities. Thank you.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to be here with my credit union friends. It's a special privilege. And I was just noticing the number on the board here, 1.6 million members in Minnesota, thinking in terms of a state with 5.2 million people. And so just do the math, 1 out of 3 or so individuals in Minnesota, men, women, children, are members of a credit union in Minnesota. And that's something I think that we're all especially proud of, and I am, because I had the great honor to be a part of the board and committee structure at Mayo Clinic Employees Credit Union for 23 years, and I come to frankly love that organization. From my standpoint, credit unions are amongst the greatest organizations on the face of the earth. There's just no question about it. It's member-owned, it's member-directed, it's members serving members. And as we say in Rochester often, the needs of the patient come first. I will tell you, in credit unions, the needs of the members always come first. And whether it's that individual that needs $100 for a Christmas loan, or someone else that may need $100,000 for something more substantial, it's not about the amount of money, it's about the member. It's about the member and that loan and what that philosophy is really all about. And it's never forgotten. And I know that's true of Mayo, and I know it's true of credit unions across the state. This is a marvelous, marvelous organization. It's an organization about, again, caring about members first, and always first. So I'm proud to stand here and congratulate my good friends for their good work. As we see, 1 out of 3 or so people in Minnesota are now members of credit unions. And I think that's good, and it's something we ought to rejoice in, be proud of, and march forward, as this organization will always do, in terms of making Minnesota a better state. So thank you so much.
About questions, anybody can answer?
Yeah, just real quick, a couple, just to follow up real shortly. I wanted to also recognize Hometown Credit Union as the first credit union in the state of Minnesota to open a branch in a school district. We have now 5 different branches of credit unions that have opened branches, 3 in the Twin Cities now, 1 in Owatonna, which was the original one. We also have one in Cook, which is in a K-12 school in Cook, Minnesota. And these things are, part of what this is being done as a way to reach out in our community and to meet a need which exists, which is no fault of school districts or anyone else, but it's a recognition of a need that's there. And what we're learning is, as we reach out and we talk with kids and we work with the students in the school to help them become better stewards of the money, their money, they're teaching their parents, and they're taking that information back and working with the in the home, and it's becoming something that's growing intrinsically within the community. One of the things that we have done in the surveys that we do as a trade association, and we talk with our membership and talk to our credit unions, over 90% of the credit unions in Minnesota offer programs of financial education to their members and to their communities. And of that 90%, all of them are involved in some way with kids in recognizing the future of Minnesota is based in our children and the importance of our future in this one particular element of being financially fit. Also, in our surveys, 83% of our credit unions provide programs in some form or another that help people to recognize what their credit score is and how they can build their credit score. That's becoming a tool from a financial perspective that's incredibly important because it's used in so many different things now that are not just limited to lending, but include insurance rates, whether you can, it might affect your employment, whether you can get a rental agreement on a property that is so pervasive throughout that it's important for people to understand how their credit score works, how they can improve their score if that needs to be done. And that's something that's very available to folks that are members of credit unions. The other part that I will mention real quickly, and then we'll stop and you can talk with folks individually. Something very unique to credit unions. We talk about the 400 offices of credit unions throughout Minnesota. A lot of our credit unions are involved in a specific tool called shared branching, where you can go, as a member, if your credit is involved in shared branching, you can go to another credit union to make deposits and withdrawals to your account. So you can be in New York and make deposits to your account in Rochester. You can be in LA and do the same kind of thing through the shared branching network. So it's something that's unique to us. It's something that we do as cooperatives that is unique to us because of the type of institutions that we are and how we can work together. So again, thank you all so very much for being here. We have a number of folks that are glad to talk with you individually as well and answer questions.
Can we ask you a question?
Absolutely.
How did the recession play a role in the recent growth that we've seen?
That's a great question. We grew throughout the entire recession. We grew in our loan portfolios. We grew in the number of memberships. Particularly what we saw on the loan side is we saw growth in business lending. Credit unions remain tied to their communities. We did small business loans to people as some were repurposing from jobs that they had been laid off from, and we're looking to become entrepreneurs, and we could help to fill that role. Our average business loan that we make as a credit union is under $200,000, and so we're in a position that we can be very helpful in that particular case. But the other part that we saw through the downturn, and a big part of it was, quite honestly, was just being in position that when the conversation began about bank transfer day, for example, we saw this both a social media but a social phenomena about looking for alternatives that institutions that people had been locked into for a very long time that were very, very large, very impersonal, and people were looking for alternatives that had that tie to to themselves and that looked at the values of the institution if they matched the values of the individual. So people were making values-based decisions on where they wanted to have their accounts, and we saw tremendous growth through that whole time.
Based on the youth, the kids that you've been educating, where do the financial priorities for future generations lie?
I don't know that I have that answer in total for you, but I will tell you this. What we're seeing with kids, and whether it's in the elementary school as a starting place, where we work in there, but particularly in the high school, it is working with folks to understand about college debt and about student loans and how that will affect them, what they need to get through school, what choices that they might actually have, and then how to handle that debt afterwards. So many kids have gone on to school, and a number of you have experienced that, where you have many opportunities when you're in college to open checking accounts, to open credit cards, and you lose track of the net effect, the accumulation of that as you graduate. And a lot of young people are moving back home in order to be able to have enough income to support their student loan debt. They don't have the opportunity to be out on their own. And so what we're trying to do is just trying to educate folks about the choices and the challenges that they might face.
You know, with the growth in Rochester and all that's happening here demographically, and how has that kind of bolstered your relationship with Mayo Clinic employees, and how has that kind of painted the picture with your relationship with Mayo Clinic employees?
You know, I will, rather than answer that myself, I'll ask Mary Hansen from
Sure,
the Mayo
okay,
Credit Union to do that.
Okay.
I've actually been asked that question a number of times, and I have to be honest with you. I've been in the organization 15 years, and during that time, we have grown consistently. In fact, I have graphs along I can send with you. But we've had good, solid, steady growth, often double-digit growth throughout that 15-year period. But as Mayo has grown, and they've moved around the country, we have grown. So, you know, when I started, we had 2 offices here in Rochester, and we serve people across the country. We now have 9 offices in 4 states. So as Mayo has gone out, we have added offices to serve our members, and also to assist them as they transition through their career at Mayo and relocate to Jacksonville or Scottsdale. They're able to maintain their accounts with ease. Nothing needs to change except for their address. So I can't say that we saw a tremendous boost during the recession. That was out of the ordinary, but we've had solid, steady, manageable growth, and that's exactly what our goal has been.
What do you expect to see now with DMC coming?
That's a very good question. I would expect that we'll grow more rapidly. You know, if the number of positions in the community increases like they have projected, I would expect our colleagues across Rochester will grow, not just my credit union. We will all probably grow through that.
How difficult is anybody, any of the people here can answer, how difficult is, I know when I was a kid, I won't say that, but when I was a kid, my first savings plan was everybody at 7.5% interest. When I set one up for my son, was if I was off the Wells Fargo 0.3. So how tough is it to get people to put money in the bank, to save it, that you can then loan out at great rates, when interest rates are just historically low on savings?
Actually, we have seen in the last 5 years really tremendous growth on the deposit side. What we have found in our membership base is that people became very conservative about their purchases. They held onto their cars longer. They maybe thought twice before they decided to go into a larger home. They were taking caution in their approach, and so during that period of time, our deposits grew tremendously. And it's just in the recent, really in the last year or so, that we've started to see, you know, interest in car loans growing more rapidly again. So people, even though interest rate, the return was lower, people have had a sense that they needed to be more conservative and have been better savers, is what we've experienced.
And I think credit unions have benefited from that in general, just from the perceived financial strength of credit unions. I know in Red Wing, people value local, and they value strength, and they know they can come in and talk with somebody, and that's an important element of them. So even if they're not getting a great return on that, they still know we're there, we're going to be there. And I think there is a little bit of a fundamental distrust that's been created in the generations over the financial crisis and other things that came out. And so that local aspect of what we do is critically important for our organization, and we have certainly benefited from being there and being part of that.
I think Mayo is a great example of one of the uniqueness of credit unions in terms of to be a member of the Mayo Credit Union, you're on staff. Eligibility is to be an employee of the clinic system. In Red Wing, it's a community-based credit union, and in Old Town it's a community-based, but also in Rochester, and Kelly McDonough is here, the president of First Alliance Credit Union, is a community-based credit union for Rochester, and you've seen tremendous growth, you know, as well as Rochester has grown.
Yes, and I suspect it will continue to, as the destination medical community advances, that will, because we can reach out to people that aren't necessarily members of Mayo, we'll be able to continue to expand our membership as well. And I think we've experienced much the same pattern of deposit growth that Mary and Aaron were just talking about. And I think it's telling. You know, Dave talked about how connected Minnesota residents are to their credit union and how it's a heartfelt connection. And I think it's really telling that in the Post Bulletin's Reader's Choice Award, that First Alliance Credit Union was voted best bank. I think it tells a lot about how people feel about being members of a credit union.
So I don't know if you have other questions for folks that are here, but I think, one of the questions that you asked too was about during the downturn, and Mary answered that very well. What we saw from a lot were folks that were, rather than them borrowing, they were paying down debt. They're becoming better, stewards of their own funds. Part of it was, as you asked, about the interest rates. When you're looking at, at the alternatives of if I save this money, I would get X rate, but if I paid off my credit card, which has this rate, then I'm actually coming out dollars ahead by doing that. And so we saw a lot of that. And what happened during that time frame where we saw this, our term of disintermediation. But what's emerging from that now was all those things that you didn't do, and now this market is a little different than other markets throughout the state, as the home values have steadied, and now they're starting to see an increase in home values. One of the core things, if you feel good about your home and your property, and you feel that part for you financially, which is for most people the largest investment they have, if their home is starting to appreciate again, then they feel more confident as a consumer. And then they start to make the purchases of things that we also finance, which are cars. Mm-hmm. And we're seeing a lot of car loan business, because people have put off the purchases, and now they finally, that 150,000 miles is probably enough now, and they're starting to trade cars, and we're seeing some of those. But again, we're still at a historically low ebb in interest rates, and so rates are still low.
And as Mark mentioned, the amount of student loan debt that we see, especially in our community, we have a lot of highly educated professionals here in Rochester. And so for us, we've had substantial growth in the amount of student loans that we do, and we've introduced a consolidation product. So people that have 10, 12 student loans at multiple different financials across the country can put it into one easy payment every month for them. So that's been a source of our growth also.
And I think that's one of the things where you're paying attention to your membership. As Senator Senjem mentioned, you look at what are the needs of my members, mm-hmm. and yours are very highly educated, and we all appreciate it for our health care, mm-hmm. but that comes at a price, and so you've got a product out there to help them with that.
Can I just finish, and I wish I would have said this, but it just occurs to me, and this goes back at least to my time, I don't think it's changed, but credit unions are based on trust, and I will tell you, time after time after time, in my experience on a credit union, a credit committee at the credit union,